You know, we all love to romanticize the golden age of Hollywood. The glamour, the scandals, the larger-than-life stars who lit up the silver screen. But here's the truth no one talks about: some of those iconic actors? Not the brightest bulbs in the chandelier. Seriously. Talent? Sure. Looks? Definitely. But when it came to basic common sense, let's just say the lights were on but nobody was home. Let's start with the legendary John Wayne. The Duke. King of the Westerns. He could stare down an outlaw, shoot a six-shooter from the hip, and still find time to look heroic. But off-screen? The man once claimed Native Americans volunteered to give up their land, and even suggested white people were the real victims. That's not just dumb, that's aggressively dumb. And don't even get started on his political interviews. He made Clint Eastwood talking to a chair look like Einstein. Then there's Jane Mansfield. She played the bombshell blonde to perfection, which is fair, because in real life, she kinda leaned into that role. Jane once said she didn't need brains because she had looks, and honestly, her career choices backed that up. Her PR stunts bordered on absurd. At one point, she faked a wardrobe malfunction at a press event just to get on the front page. Iconic? Yes. Intellectually gifted? Not quite. Errol Flynn is another one. Oh, the swashbuckling hero, Captain Blood himself. He was handsome, charming, and totally reckless. He had zero filter and even less impulse control. He once tried to impress a woman by jumping off a boat into shark-infested waters. That's not bravery, that's Darwin Awards material. He also claimed he could outdrink anyone in the world, which isn't really a brainy life goal. And what about Zsa Zsa Gabor? She was basically famous for being famous before that was even a thing. Married 9 times, arrested for slapping a cop, and once said, "I am a marvelous housekeeper. Every time I leave a man, I keep his house." Witty? Sure. But half the time, it was hard to tell if she was joking or just had no clue how absurd she sounded. Marlon Brando, for all his talent, also makes the list. Genius actor, but a complete enigma. Offset. He'd show up late, unprepared, or not at all. Once, while filming The Island of Dr. Moreau, he refused to learn his lines and instead wore a tiny radio in his ear so people could feed him the dialogue. That's not being quirky, that's just lazy bordering on dumb. He even suggested casting a dolphin as a co-star. Not a trained dolphin, just any dolphin. Of course, we can't forget about Mae West. Brilliant in some ways, she wrote her own material, pushed boundaries, but she truly believed in some wild pseudoscience. She thought eating raw onions could prevent aging. Yeah. Raw onions. She claimed that was the secret to her youth. That's not skincare, that's salad dressing. And let's talk about Mickey Rooney. The man had more marriages than Oscars, and he wasn't exactly a mastermind when it came to life choices. He blew through millions of dollars, got duped by managers and friends, and still acted surprised every time someone betrayed him. Mickey, buddy, after the 5th time, maybe it's you. Look, we're not saying you need a PhD to be a movie star. But these folks prove that being famous doesn't automatically come with wisdom. They gave us iconic films and unforgettable characters, but when the camera stopped rolling, their real-life decisions were often laughably clueless, and maybe that's part of their charm. Because in the end, they were just as flawed, messy, and yes, sometimes dumb, as the rest of us. But hey, at least they looked good doing it. So next time you watch one of those old black and white classics, just remember, behind that suave smile or seductive gaze, might have been someone who couldn't find their car keys if you handed them a map.